Construction vehicles are, as their name indicates, made for construction. But due to their hardy nature, there have been numerous occasions where they were also used for less scrupulous goals. I'm sure many of you watching know Killdozer, the sad case where a man was pushed too far and then turned a regular bulldozer into a tank with just some cement and steel plates. But then we also have things like the Italian Killdozer, the Bob Semple tank, and recently, people have been stealing forklift trucks and front loaders to commit various crimes. And the problem with a front loader is, while the police might be able to catch up with it, they're not actually equipped to stop it, at least not immediately. So of course, in the vast Gundam universes, we have a mech version of Killdozer. Well before some mad Zeon scientists had the idea of using humanoid mecha for warfare, there was the Catl mobile worker. We don't know when exactly it was created, but it was one of the earliest examples of mobile workers and was used to help with construction of space colonies. This 30-meter tall behemoth had 4 arms, which were mounted on an early version of the drum frame, something that would later on be used with the Augo, the Gaza Sea, and so on. And instead of legs, the thing was essentially a giant hovercraft. And what was also giant was its cockpit. Mobile suit cockpits are typically very cramped and barely have enough room for one pilot, but inside of the Catl's cockpit, multiple people could easily be standing. Like, instead of a cockpit, it's almost more like the bridge of a small ship. And all of this was powered by solar cells, so it was environmentally friendly too. The specific unit then that we'll be looking at today was abandoned in the colony that nowadays is better known as Moon. And it is believed that it was abandoned there after the completion of Side 1, making it at least 50 years old at the time of its first combat deployment. Another striking thing about this particular unit then is that it had a multi-barreled gun on one of its right arms. Now, it is highly likely that this was part of the original design, for some reason, but since construction material isn't exactly known for fighting back, I like to imagine that this is a later customization, with the original being either just another regular arm or a torch. And talking about the arms, we do also have some minor differences between them. On the left, we have very basic hands that are shaped like pincers, while on the right, we have a slightly more complex 3-digit hand. And just like the construction vehicles in real life that I mentioned in the beginning, the Catl would turn out to be very suitable for violence. But the poor abandoned Catl would initially only serve as an icon for the Moon colony's weird cult, and ironically enough, it would serve as a symbol for the uselessness of machines, despite the fact that it was machines like the Catl that built the very colony that they were living on. But I'm not here to argue with zealots. I'm here to tell you that despite being antiquated and neglected for decades, this machine was actually still in working condition when it was needed to fight against Neo Zeon. And boy could it fight! Definitely not something you'd expect from something that was abandoned 50 some years ago. That was also being piloted by 2 people who had never stepped foot in one before. So not only was it very strong and durable, but it was apparently also very easy to pilot too. Maybe the Federation should have been mass-producing these things when Zeon started their invasion. Also, in the Moon manga, the Catl is able to land a hit on the state-of-the-art Medusa mobile armor. So it's a good thing that in the Gundam universe, criminals didn't figure out the destructive capabilities of the Catl. But that has been all for Gundam's Killdozer, the Catl. An antique that you definitely should not underestimate. So, if you got your hands on a Catl, what would you use it for? As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.